Hello, everyone. We're going to go live in a couple minutes. Just waiting for a couple people to join here, and we will be live. All right, let's get started here. Real exciting. Have a great topic today. One of the things I want to highlight and remind people is design your life the way you want it. A couple of things I want to highlight. I start off with music. I love music. I love to start with music. It brings energy to me in what I do. So when you are thinking about your career or your business, if you're a business owner, please, please, please think about how you show up best. Design your life the way you want it. Huge advocate of that in momentum and how you're doing it. So think about that. I want to highlight that every time as I come in with music. And I hope that when we do this global or nationwide, that we're in stadiums across the US and we're turning it up, having a good time and having fun. That is the most important thing with everything. So that's one. Step number two. One of the things that we're going to cover today is we're in a series about talking about how to become premium. And one of the things that I really find is when I talk to business owners and people, it's like a hot topic. We all want to be premium, but we don't know how. And I can think about myself and my journey when I was going, as I had different businesses. And I can think of the one business that I had, and I had a mentor that, as I was struggling years ago, would keep telling me, say, like, you're not premium. And I said, yes, I am premium. We're charging $75 an hour or $150 an hour. Whatever we were charging at the moment, I thought we were premium, but I never understood my client. I never understood my offering. And when everything came through the funnel, so if you're a business owner or a service business owner, and as it comes through, there's all these screens. And at the end, you hope that there's something. But I want you to know that you can have something at the end. There can be a lot at the end, and that's really exciting. So we're going to look at being clear and very clear, clarity in your offer today. So leads me to the question, what is clarity? Clarity is pretty much what it sounds like. It's being clear. I don't know if you can define it like that, but it's being clear so that somebody understands what you mean or what you're trying to sell. A lot of times what happens in the business world, whether you're selling or you're an owner, you're talking to your staff, is you're not clear. We hear the word about communication all the time. I was actually on a job site a couple weeks ago, and we were putting in hundreds of feet of electrical line, and they were running wire through conduit. Conduit is what houses the electrical line. And at the one end, they were pulling it. They use like a slime to make sure that they can pull it through on long distances. And they were using walkie-talkies. And the one guy said, pull it a little more. So the one guy at the end pulled it a little more, and it actually kinked the line and damaged the wire. The guy at the other end started hollering or was not excited about this and told the guy, like, I said, pull it a little, like 6 inches. So the guy pulled it a foot. We're talking hundreds of feet here, and it damaged the line. So, like, that's a real simple example of when I was thinking about clarity, like, how does that that applies in everywhere, operations, sales. But there's an example that those two individuals were not clear about what it is. If the guy would have said, pull it 6 more inches, that would have solved the problem. So we see this over and over again, on and on, in a lot of different areas, and we have to dive into that. So my goal as a coach is to help you become premium and make sure that your offer is premium. Because what I want to look at is what happens when you are premium. And we're going to talk about this ongoing. But when you're premium, you bring more to the bottom line. You have extra money, you're charging more, and your fixed costs remain the same. So that means at the end of the day, you have more net profit, which is more enjoyable. You can do things, you're energized, you're not stressing about cash flow. It doesn't follow you home at night. You're allowed to sleep because you peacefully have money in the bank. It's a big deal. So that's why premium is a big deal. So a couple questions that I would like you to think about. When you think about your target, are you clear who your target is? And when I talk to business owners, I can think I had a call last week and I was talking to a business owner. And when I asked the question of who is your target, I get a general response of it's anybody that has $1,000, let's say. This case was somebody that was in the financial services business. And yes, I do use examples from clients. I will never share names, but they're teaching points. It helps all of us get better. I share my mistakes. I share areas that I was short, but I also share examples that we all can learn from. So when we looked at this, we said, well, anybody that would like an extra $1,000, that's such a broad category. That could be anybody. What happens what I see a lot of times when I talk to business owners is nobody ever questions or asks the next question. So that needs to be dialed in more. Who is your target? Who is the person that you're targeting? So the first question that I would ask to you is, are you clear of who you're targeting? If you don't know that, then you need to figure that out, because that's a step to become premium. You have to know who you're targeting, because if that person, and I'll use the example, if somebody does not, if you're a financial person, do you want somebody that has the income to invest or to make moves with their finances? Or do you want somebody that doesn't have any resources? Somebody that doesn't make significant income or any income that you'll be able to work with. So even in that scenario, yes, you could help both people, but who's going to be a good client for you? And it goes back to my opening point. Design it that's best for you, because when it's best for you, it will be best for your clients. You will show up in a different way, and it will be exciting. The second thing is, are you clear with what you're offering? Are you clear? So there's two questions. The first one was, are you clear with who your target is? The second question was, are you clear to what you're offering? If you think about that, what is the end result of what you're offering? Does it align with what you ultimately want your goal to be? Does it align to the way that you want to make your financial compensation? If you're a coach, are you trading dollars for hours? Do you have fixed pricing? These are questions that you have to ask to understand, like, what is your offer to your customer? Next week, we're actually going to talk about value and how to dive down in on that value to make sure that you're driving that home with your customers. But do you have a clear offer? And I may have shared this before, but it's a great example. When I started out with Start the Mo, I had zero clarity. So even as a coach, these are areas that you need accountability with. And I have a I have this in my wallet. It's actually an old card, card that we don't use anymore. But you won't be able to see it. The text is pretty small. But anyway, it says my name, and it says I'm a keynote speaker, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an investor, I'm an executive coach, and I'm an interim executive. Now, my question is to you, what are you going to hire me for? What am I good at? When I did this failed. And I want to be clear that these are examples of where even a coach can fail. Like, what was I thinking? I was looking to optimize business. I thought everybody was going to need, if I had all these things, something would need one of these things. What I came up with was what's on my chest here is right here. I got it backwards with the camera. Momentum U. Momentum U is what came together, and I have a clear offering now of what I do. And with this, I made $0. It was terrible. I talked to lots of people. They thought momentum was a phenomenal topic, something that they wanted to learn more about, but they didn't know how to purchase it from me. I was in limbo, had a lot of great interest. People thought it was an awesome idea. With Momentum U, it became profitable, premium, high ticket, and best yet, it delivered results that clients refer other clients to because it makes impact in their life. So when you get so crystal clear on what you do, now if you're a service business, how do you differentiate yourself from your customers? How are you so clear with what you do that your customers understand it in a different level than what your competition does? And that leads me to the third point is, are you clearly communicating this to your customers? That's the third area where I see it not happening, where you believe you have value, but that value is not getting communicated to your customers. I would like you to think and say, like, what is your value? What do you do different? And another example is, it's so easy for me. Schedule a call with me and we'll talk about it. But whatever industry you're in, whatever you say, I will probably pick up the phone and call somebody in that industry, and they will say the exact same thing. So that tells me that you haven't done a deep dive to get crystal clear on what you do and how you're different. Crystal clear. Painfully clear. It's powerful when you get to that level, because when you get clear, the next thing that's going to happen is confidence. You will have a level of confidence that your customer will feel. When you're confident and you're clear, those two things add up to being premium. If you want to be premium, when you're confident and you're clear, people will come to you. You'll be able to charge a higher price. If you're a service business and you were charging $50 an hour, you probably could charge $75. If you're charging $75, you could probably get $100. If you're a coach, if you're charging an hourly fee, you might be able to get a package deal. These are areas that we can explore, and as a coach, we help you get the most money. That's exciting. So when we work with people, we can evaluate how you're doing and what you're doing maybe well, and maybe money that you're leaving on the table. Great example of a venue that was undercharging. And the only reason they were undercharging is because they didn't believe in their own value that they could charge more. The impact that we talked about when we worked through it was over $120,000. It was a simple equation that we looked at, and a simple ratio. It was so easy and it was just left on the table. What could you do with an extra $120,000? What could you do with an extra $500,000? What could you do with an extra $25,000? This is what clarity brings. Clarity brings more money to the bottom line. The person who is clear is going to be able to charge premium prices. I want to look at the next thing of staffing. We're in the world right now with COVID. There's a lot of things that are, up in the air, things that we do not know. But if you think about staffing, if you're clear about what you offer to your team and not the fancy packet that you get when you start, what's your mission? What's your organization about? What's your story? If you come into an organization and they get buy-in to what you're talking about and what you're doing, that's crystal clear. It sinks in. It connects to the people. Clarity will get you a better worker because the organization that is probably picks up that individual. So if you're struggling with staffing, clarity might be the problem. If you're looking at your sales numbers and they're not where you want them to be, another client, great example, said their closing ratio was not in the right spot. They wanted to raise the closing ratio. So as we were working through this, we thought, I was trying to listen what the individual was doing and how they were doing it and seeing if I could pick up on anything. And what I realized was this individual had a tragic situation. They actually lost their son. It's a really sad story, but a really powerful story because they overcame the challenges and had a lot of support from the community. It was it's a terrific story. I mean, I get chills thinking about it, how they handled it and what they've done and how they want to give back and everything. But when we looked at the closing ratio, I said, one, be yourself. For me, it's playing music at the beginning of the thing and just feeling good, having fun with it. For him, that story was connecting with his son. So I said, we worked on how to share that story of the purpose behind why he does what he does. Really short and sweet. But you'll notice, and you could track, that the closing ratio was rising. The impact of being you and telling your story and being authentic was a big deal, but he was clear about why he's doing it. Instead of hiding from it, but it's a little tweak that if you close 10% more sales, how does that change your organization? These are areas that clarity affects, especially in the sales world. So if you can close more deals, if you're a retail business, let's say you're a furniture store and people are coming in the door and you close 1 out of 10 people that walk through the door. What if you close 2 out of 10? This is what we're talking about with being clear. How do you influence or impact that transaction when people walk in? Do they know the process? So important. So just a couple stats, because I think it's important to put a couple stats in. Employees with high role clarity report high levels of the following. 1, you're going to have effectiveness, around 86%. Intention to stay with the company, 84%. If you're having a retention issue, it may be a clarity issue. So I'm trying to go over these slow and take my time with highlighting some of these areas. But if you could list, maybe this would be a good exercise for you. List some of the challenges that you have. And I want you to ask yourself, are these the issue that you think they are? Or Could it maybe be a clarity issue? Could you not be clear with your employees and they're leaving? Customer retention. Just another one. I'm just dropping in there. Whatever your thing is, customer retention. Your customers are leaving. Are you not clear with how you do business? Are you not clear with what you offer? Are you not clear when you're showing up? Are you not clear how you've adjusted to COVID? Now, where the disconnect is, you think you're clear and your customer thinks you're not. That's where I see the disconnect. So I want you to, if you're following along with what we're doing, write down some of the challenges that you're having. And I want to ask yourself, is it that issue or is it really a clarity problem? I think if you dive a little bit deeper, you may find that it's a clarity problem. And then if you know that, you need to talk about and figure out what the strategy is to address those issues through clarity. Productivity goes up when there's clarity, 83%. Satisfaction with leadership is higher, 80%. 97% of employees and executives believe that the lack of alignment with a team impacts the outcome of the task or the project. So, can you make sure that you're clear and your team's aligned before you do the project? If you do that, this is going to align with profitability, and with your customer, it's going to allow you to charge premium. As you do this and you take these steps, you'll be able to raise your prices. Couple of key things. One, are you clear with who your target is? Don't just say it, dive down a couple layers more. So my customer is anybody that wants an extra $1,000. You're going to hear crickets when it comes to selling. You're not going to get the ideal client. Who's the client that can pay you the value that you're worth? Where are they at? And how do you define that and target them? 2, are you crystal clear in what you're offering? Think about the example that I gave when I started Start the Mo. I offered a lot, but got nothing. When I started Momentum U, I offered something very specialized, very specific, and it changed to a life of abundance within that organization. And then 3, once you understand those two, are you clearly communicating that to your customers? Do they understand what you're offering? And the best way is to probably ask them. If you ask them and do surveys or get feedback, a lot of times what you think and what they think is not going to align. If it does, you're doing a great job. But that's some of the areas that we work on. So I think it's very important. Clarity is something that if you want to be premium is something that's a lot of fun. And I hope from watching this, you have some tidbits to start asking the questions. Am I premium? Do I think I'm premium? I thought I was premium in when I had other companies. But at the end of the day, my balance sheet or my income statement was showing that we weren't as premium as we thought we were. Once we understood the tricks to being premium and understood how it worked and that we had to do a deeper dive into what we were doing, who we were, and be crystal clear about it, profitability went up. We were able to charge more. And when we charged more, we were more confident. We delivered. More money fell to the bottom line. There's a lot of excitement. Stress drops. There's a lot of areas that connect to being premium. So I would ask if you follow along. If you have comments or have questions, I would love if you would post any of your big takeaways from this video, from this quick training. If you have questions, reach out to me. I would love to get on a call with you and talk about being premium. It's something that we all want, but we don't know how to get there always, and that's okay. So reach out. Let's schedule a call. let's look at your clarity. Let's talk about your specific organization and see if there's anything showing up that we could help with. If there is, I'll tell you. If there isn't, I'll tell you. It's about that simple. We do have a webinar. If you haven't watched it about momentum, feel free to watch that. It'll give some things. We also put out other content. You can watch some of our content. We have a podcast. We have a private Facebook group that you can be a part of. If you ask to join, we share our wins and what we do there. So thanks for watching. Next week, we'll be talking about value. We're going to be looking at, once you have clarity and you define what you do, how do you really drive value? What's the value that you're giving? Because in order to be premium, you have to be making sure that you're very clear, clarity first, with your value. We're going to talk about that, and that will help you. So follow this series, make some comments. I will put the link below if you want to schedule a call with me to talk about anything. I would be happy to talk to you. It'd actually make my day if you set up a call and I could hear about your business. So thanks for tuning in. Look forward to connecting soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.